Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the 32nd floor of 3 Park Avenue. I just gave people our address. I guess that's okay. Now you can come hang out with us. Perfect. Today we're watching the US Champions Cup. Polt Nick's working on a game. How's that game going there, Nick?
I'm going for a 2-2 charge at Archon timing.
Okay.
So we'll kind of wait and see how it goes.
We'll get consistent updates there from Nick to see how he fares in this tournament. But here we are on Derelict Watcher Tournament Edition. This is Winners Bracket Round 4, a matchup between our Red Protoss player in the top right-hand location. Representing Root Gaming, he is puCK, a.k.a. Brandon Quall. Really good Protoss player. He kind of burst onto the scene a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, by making a run. I think it was at IPL, if I want to say. Definitely made a great run, took out a lot of good players. And he's one of those Protoss players that has fierce determination, and he's crazy good mechanics. He's really fast on the keyboard. Like, if we go to his vision right now, I don't know. Nick, do you know how to go to people's vision on this?
Either 1 or 2.
Okay, I went to 1. Well, should it follow him? Yeah, we can see. He's always. I guess you can't follow the camera necessarily.
Yeah. If you don't hit any other buttons, if you just hit 1 or 2, then don't hit any other buttons.
So if we look at the APM, and this is puCK's vision right now, it's skyrocketing. He loves just getting into the zone, you know, moving. He uses those camera hotkeys. That's him switching literally in between bases, tapping those keys. Loves putting a lot of effort into making that keyboard spin, and it helps him get into the groove. Of course, in the bottom left we have his opponent. How do I get out of the 1 and 2? What do I hit? 3?
Just
3 makes sense. 3 worked.
Yep.
I used 3. Polt is in the bottom left-hand location representing CM Storm. Of course, everyone knows this guy. He's the defending champion of the most recent MLG that we had.
Yep.
Took out Hyun there in the finals in an epic series. Epic tournament overall. Definitely go check out those VODs if you missed it. Polt, one of the fearsome Terran players, looking to get it. Probably, you know, he's probably the favorite in this tournament. And
oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, this is the US Champions Cup, so this tournament is restricted to people living in the United States. So Polt is probably going to be favored here. Polt is living in Texas, currently attending the University of Texas, and he's had great success in tournaments recently. Definitely wants to book a ticket to IEM New York City, which again will go to the winner of this tournament. puCK, meanwhile, he's living in the Root House. He's been practicing really hard. He's also in WCS. Both these players are in WCS America. And puCK and Polt have had some serious contests in the past. This is game 1.
They're not joking around with these contests.
This can go either way. puCK versus Polt. I've seen some like a lot of people when they see it on paper, they're going to be like, okay, Polt's probably going to win.
Yep.
The last
and that's
which is
I mean, he's a favorite, but
right.
It's definitely gone back and forth.
Yeah, it's not that one-sided. Like,
so what's the current score in this game? The
current score is 0-0. This is game 1. And the history behind puCK and Polt, they've played against each other quite a bit in tournaments and stuff. I remember there was an Australian tournament.
By the way, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm just crushing this guy.
Yes.
I just thought that should be noted.
Nick crushing Slim Power in the lower bracket.
He's a high masters. So.
Yep. There you go, Nick. I'm proud of you, man. Anyway, back to my point. puCK, it's not a guy you think, okay, Polt's just going to 2-0. puCK is good enough to make this a game. And the last games I've seen between these guys have been super good. So I'm really excited for this one. Looking at opening build orders, we have a blink opening here from puCK. No robotics facility just yet. He might get that down very soon with his next 20 or 30 minerals. It should come down very soon. Is this probe going to make it? No. Oh, there's actually a Reaper jumping into the main base looking for that Twilight Council. It looks like he's going to scout it. The probes do not want to let him see that Twilight. I think he saw it, though. Oh.
That sucks.
Great scout there from Polt. puCK is going to be flustered by that a little bit.
It's not too often you catch Polt off guard with something like that, right?
Yeah. Like, puCK is investing pretty heavily into this, too. Adding on 2 gateways. Still is no robotics facility. So, not looking to change his tech up. Not even a forge on the ground. And behind this, let's see how Polt reacts. He has his stim on the way. He's got 2 barracks, one with the tech lab, one with the reactor. He's got Marines marching in between his main and natural expansion. I would almost add a bunker here in the main just to be extra super safe. Even adding in Marauders here to make sure he does stay safe against this blink opening here from puCK. Now, puCK is on 2 bases, so this isn't completely all in. He is adding on 2 more gateways, so going to go up to 3 gateways in total. Going to be 3 gate pressure with blink stalkers. Adding on a forge, so he has that transition idea, and also he has the ability to build cannons, which I think he might do. Cannon's helpful in giving you detection against early scary stuff like Widow Mines and stuff like that. For now, though, just getting +1 armor. So going to see what kind of damage he can do here on his opponent's side of the map while adding on that armor upgrade. And we'll have to see if he decides to add on either a Dark Shrine, either a Templar Archives, a third base. I think it would be kind of crazy. I think the next logical step would be either a Robo or a Templar Archive, something into the Templar tech. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, the Stalkers advancing to his opponent's side. That's a lot of Marines Marauders, and they almost have stim. I don't see this doing much. He might be able to blink into his opponent's main base, but it's still a risky proposition, and Polt is going to extend across the map here. He doesn't even have a starport yet. Going three barracks on 2 bases and just pumping out the bio, delaying the engineering bay as well. Well, actually, he does have 1 engineering bay, delaying a 2nd engineering bay. And he's going to try to attack with these Marines and Marauders without medevacs, and this is a very scary timing. puCK is going to have to rely on Photon Overcharge, but I don't. Yeah, his Mothership Core is making his way back. But we'll have to see what kind of damage Polt can get done advancing into the National Expansion. Great force fields there from puCK, losing 1 Stalker, but only 1. And Nick is victorious.
Yep, I cut it closer than I should have with an overextension. It's the best of 3, so I haven't won the whole series yet. I'll have to wait and see.
You're up 1-0?
I'm up 1-0.
Nicely played.
But this game is looking pretty interesting. So
yeah. Tell me your thoughts. So
I really like Polt's position.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, he's just his infrastructure is like 30 seconds to a minute from being like that full Terran infrastructure that can really get a strong mid game, and puCK is about 2 minutes. So he's about a minute behind Polt in just getting that mid game army that you really are looking to use as either Protest or Terran, and that's a minute is like it's not enough that Polt can just kill him. Because that's like a minute is what to build a Marine and walk across the map. You know, it takes about 30 seconds to build it, 30 seconds to walk across the map. So it's not enough for Polt to just win the game automatically, but it's enough that he can get an advantage in the mid game. Like right now, taking the 3rd base, and puCK can't take a 3rd base right now. Or I mean, he could try, but Polt should be able to cancel it with good drop play because he has his dropships, he has all his tech up.
Yep.
And puCK doesn't have blink or charge or
he does have blink.
Charge on. Oh, does have blink? Okay.
Yeah, he opened blink there, and I think that's what got him in this position because he invested a lot into that blink play, and Polt was able to scout it out. So Polt made the perfect reaction, and now Polt can kind of start just taking advantages. And this is tricky because puCK is going to be taking a 3rd base here.
Yep.
And on Derelict Watcher, your main base is pretty darn far away from that 3rd base. So in dealing with drop play, which Polt absolutely loves, you have to be so careful, so perfect with your Blink Stalker Micro to make sure you don't lose any unnecessary economy.
And that's pretty tough against a guy like Polt who's going to know exactly when to stim. And we'll see. We'll see what he can do here. But he's definitely going to get that macro advantage just from having the stronger mid-game composition. Well,
yeah.
I mean, there is a 3rd base coming up from puCK, and if he can hold on to that, I think he's going to be okay. And Blink is kind of scaring Polt. So Polt's playing a little more defensively tonight. I think he could have walked up there and taken out that 3rd base.
I think you're right. Like right when that Marine died, sending a squadron up there. Now, what's interesting here is Storm just now finished for puCK, and we don't have a Ghost Academy on the map.
Oh, we
for
got
Polt.
a 2nd starport.
We do.
He must be thinking.
He's a little bit. He doesn't know exactly what's happening here. If he knew Storm was happening, there would definitely be a Ghost Academy on the map. So that means that puCK could potentially try to get himself in a position where his opponent isn't necessarily able to identify his High Templars or his Storm, and he can get a good amount of damage done. There's the scan. So he knows about the High Templar. Look out for the storms here from puCK. There's a storm. There's another storm going down onto the Marines and Marauders, but Polt with a great spread here, going every which way. A Hallucinated Colossus coming up. I'm not sure if those storms were good enough to merit directly engaging this. So puCK is going to back away. That Colossus was hallucinated, making an Archon here. The Charge Lot's charging forward as well, and Polt is going to try to sprint on into the main base. The Stalker's blinking forward, trying to target down that medevac, which the units were inside of. But puCK a little bit out of position, going to try to warp in some more units. More importantly, his 3rd base is still mining. There was a couple units split off to check on the progress of that, but it looks like puCK should be able to hold this off. But any trade at this point for Polt, he's going to be happy with, provided he doesn't lose his medevacs for free. So
yeah. I was a little scared for a second when he went to drop in the main because his army was so small.
Yeah.
If puCK had his warp gates up 10 seconds earlier, right, he warped in a line of Zealots, and then that line of Zealots would be enough that he could actually blink his Stalkers really aggressively. He might have been able to take a couple medevacs, but, you know, his warp gate timings weren't up, and in fact, Polt probably knew that too, so...
Overall, I think puCK is going to be mildly happy with his situation, considering how this game started, because it was clear that Polt took a nice advantage. But puCK was able to take a trade there that wasn't too terrible for him. He's still behind, but the momentum as far as Storm is concerned, he's forcing his opponent to kind of react to that. When that's a situation as Polt where you kind of want to be prepared for those High Templar. You want to have those Ghosts ready to lay down the EMPs, but this is a situation where puCK kind of took him off guard with the Storms, and he has some High Templar here. We'll have to see what kind of damage he can get done. No Ghosts in this composition here from Polt. He's going to start spreading out his units, trying to bait forward those High Templar. Looking for observers with that scan. Might try to pick up some units to go for a drop. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Going to send 4 straight into the main base. And puCK is going to try to identify this.
Oh, he's got it!
He does see the medevacs. Let's see how
you're low in
reacts.
energy because Polt's smart. So he can't just warp in Templar and get easy feedback, 40 food supply advantage.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't take damage to it, at least.
He is going to force puCK to split up these units. High Templar is coming forward, looking for the Storm. A great Storm onto those Marines and Marauders, soaking up a lot of damage onto those medevacs as well. Trying to get the kill onto the medevacs. They're so low in health, but they are going to get away. Nice play there from Polt. Meanwhile, a minor skirmish going to happen in the middle of the map here. Marines and Marauders stimming towards this third base. There's a time warp from puCK, sending forward those Zealots and Stalkers. Remember, he does have Blink. He can pursue this with that Blink play, but going to stay back for now, just playing this safe and holding that attack off. So puCK going to be happy with that, and also in the middle of that, going for a Colossus transition. I love that. During all that, he had so many resources booked up into Colossi play, starting range, 2 Colossi from 2 Robos, and he's still able to hold off this aggression. I feel like once he gets these Colossus out, Polt's going to have to come up with a different game plan because he's making a lot of Ghosts right now. He doesn't have a lot of Vikings, so we'll have to see how Polt ends up handling this. I don't think he's seen those Colossus just yet. Doesn't have any Vikings in production. Just now scanning, though, identifying the Colossus. Let's see if Vikings get started in that production tab. We'll keep an eye on that, but this is going to be very technical for Polt. A very dangerous composition puCK has. If Polt plays this incorrectly, puCK can find himself with a nice advantage. But as it stands, Polt is up 177 to 167 in supply. He's going to scan, looking for an observer, sniping it out. And he might just back away. I don't think he wants to engage that Colossus army, taking a 4th base behind this, setting up his macro, now making 4 Vikings at a time. So I don't expect Polt to try to engage before he gets a sufficient amount of Vikings on the field. And now it might be puCK who will be looking for an engagement. Going to posture himself on the north side of the map here, going to take out this ring, going to try to secure that 4th base. But as you take more bases on Derelict Watcher, it becomes increasingly more difficult to deal with drops. So we'll have to keep an eye on what puCK ends up deciding to do as far as dealing with drop play. A lot of Protoss players will stick cannons in their mineral lines. This is exactly what puCK is going to do here. And that's what puCK has. I think that's almost essential. Some Protoss players will keep a High Templar or 2 in their main 3rd base. We'll keep an eye on that as well. There is 1 High Templar.
How many
and 5
observers does he have out there patrolling? That's the big question.
Ooh, I like that.
Because the High Templar theory is often one of the better ones, but you can't just put High Templar everywhere because I mean, you're just using too much supply, too much of their very important combat units to stop drops. So if you have observers, though, you can actually just warp in Templar on demand, which is kind of really the goal.
He has 2 observers right now, and Polt is scanning and looking for every single one, trying to get a feedback onto a Ghost. The High Templar is taken down. More snipes going down. Wow, a lot of High Templars taken down. Great control there from Polt. Both these players are essentially maxed. Both these players spreading out as much as they can. Let's see what happens here. There's a Storm onto the bio, and puCK coming in from every single direction. Another Storm onto the bio. Feedbacks onto the medevacs. puCK is looking pretty good here. The Vikings trying to take down the Colossus, but Polt is quite simply out of stuff. Stimming back, trying to retreat from this army, and puCK is doing a great job in this engagement, being very cost efficient, taking down a lot of medevacs and a lot of Ghosts, and those are the expensive units that Polt does not want to lose. So puCK going to be super happy with that engagement. He's coming across the map, adding on more and more pylons. He wants to press forward. He wants to keep this momentum, but there is a planetary fortress here from Polt. Great heads-up move, kind of realizing that a counterattack might happen and putting that defensive planetary there. But a pretty close engagement. That last one was, as we see, puCK targeting down this planetary fortress. Vikings trying to do what they can, but the planetary fortress is sniped. Meanwhile, behind this, keep in mind, 4th base at the top has been secured by puCK. Polt has 4 bases as well. He has a planetary fortress and a turret protecting this one at the bottom. But look at this, Marines and Marauders stimming forward, trying to chase down puCK. And, oh no, did you just throw down a GG, Nick?
I did. I wasn't scouting. He actually did a crazy, like, 10-minute no medevac mass Marine-in. And I was.
I'm sorry if I'm distracting you. Good
no,
sir.
no,
okay.
it's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay. Are you gonna come back and win game 3?
Yeah, I will. As long as I hallucination scout like I should.
Okay, so puCK might have overextended a little bit there. He was in a situation where he was not wanting anything to do with the main army of puCK, so he was retreating, he was backpedaling. However, as he was doing that, Polt was following with stim and dishing out a lot of damage. The question is, can Polt take out this 4th base? And I think the answer is yes.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I mean, you have that many bio, you just looked at it.
Yeah.
And it pretty much goes down.
So that's a little bit annoying for puCK, but...
And Polt's really, I like how he's expanding to the top left behind
gosh.
us. That's really cool.
This is brilliant, too.
Yeah.
He can take that. That Nexus is dead if he wants it to be.
Yep, I'd like to see him just focus right for the Nexus. Or, I mean, or he's busy microing over the top is what he's doing, so he counts letting those guys do what they wanted. But even doing what they want, attacking random stuff, he got enough guys, and what you want is going to end up with a lot of death. And he's repopping in Ghost, too.
Yeah.
So this army is obviously going to die, but
this is already so worth it. I
yeah.
mean.
And he's even getting more pylons, too. And yes, puCK technically doesn't need his pylons, but at some point he might. Oh, gets a Templar out of it.
Yeah, I mean, that was a situation where if puCK has an observer in position to potentially scout that secondary army heading toward that 3rd base, it's going to be a lot easier to manage. It's a situation where you open a bunch of Zealots, maybe some Archons to help defend that location, while dealing with that multi-pronged aggression that Polt is pretty much known for, and you know, dealing with that army at the top side of the map. So now puCK is realizing, okay, I need to make something happen, going to try to push.
He does have an army advantage. If you look there, his army is about 1,500 resources and its own gas, more than Polt. So right now is his chance to really make something happen. And Polt's a little clumped up. There's not that many Vikings either. There's a lot of High Templar.
High Templar's coming forward, looking for the feedbacks onto the Ghost. There's a Planetary Fortress there. Great EMPs onto the High Templar, taking all of the energy out. Archon's going to be made for puCK, but does he have enough? I don't think so. There's a Planetary Fortress, and these Marines and Marauders supplemented by those medevacs might be enough to clean up this army. Now puCK is in a situation where, well, that Immortal's not going to help much, where he just lost 2 bases, and he just lost his entire army. He finds himself down 160 to 70 in that supply count, trying to storm to death the remaining bio army, but only Stalkers and a High Templar remaining. There's the GG from Polt. Very nicely played.
Those are some amazing EMPs.
Those were
really I didn't see the full Viking fleet. He actually had more than the Vikings.
At that point, I think the end of that game was when Polt sniped those 2 bases. Like, when that happens at Sprodos, you're all of a sudden losing 2 bases of economy when you're... Like, Polt was going up to 5 bases as that was happening.
I mean, there's 2 ways to play from there. One is to go for the attack, because Polt did lose a lot of bio units to take out that 1 base, right?
Yeah.
So, that being said, there was a shot for puCK to do a great counterattack.
Sure.
And, for example, if he landed 3 good storms in last battle instead of having everything EMP'd, it could have been a very different game.
That's true. That's very
I mean, maybe he couldn't have won the game there, but he could have killed a planetary and backed down, killed the bottom base. And all of a sudden, he would have been in a totally different position. Or he could have just sat back, rebuilt the Nexuses, and spread Templar everywhere and try to play like the, well, I don't have economy, but I can still warp in Templar everywhere.
Just being really cost efficient as the game goes along. I love Polt's army position throughout that game, his drop harass, and I love the defensive Planetary Fortresses. I think that's really cool. It's a really safe way to stay alive in a PvT. But guys, you're watching Polt versus puCK from Winners Bracket Round 4. In the US Champions Cup. Polt is currently up 1-0. We'll have to see if puCK can win 2 in a row here to advance to Winners Bracket Round 5. Otherwise, if Polt wins, he'll be advancing to Winners Bracket Round 5. So guys, stay tuned. More StarCraft coming your way.